Hello, this is Leonardo Flores, aka DJ Show Pop, and I just want to say thanks for logging in and watching the stream on the City Pop page on Facebook. Got a lot of stuff going on. First things first, if you have noticed, we haven't been doing any shows at the Lash. The Lash closed down. They closed down right at December, and it kind of took away, of course, our spot that we've been doing, Plastic City for Tune in Tokyo. So we are currently trying to find a place to play, to do like a monthly event. But right now, actually, this Friday, Plastic City will be at the Paramount in LA. If you want to go ahead and check us out, we'll be out there. I personally won't be out there. I'm kind of upgrading all my gear right now, so I'm like between buying things and new mixer and everything. But Dave Tata and Yvonne and Marcus will be all DJing on Friday at the Paramount. So definitely go out there and visit. Also, I want to say that we are doing every Sunday, we're doing Show Us Sundays on Twitch, on our Tune in Tokyo page, channel on Twitch. So you can always check in if you want to just listen to some in the evening, usually on Sundays in Pacific time. If you want to listen to some Showa era, we do, again, City Pop, GS, Idol Kayo, we do it all. So a different DJ is featured each month. I did mine last Friday. I was getting my gear together, so I really didn't promote it. But the next one, I'm probably going to be doing an RVC Corporation episode. And so you definitely want to check that out because I've been finding some really rare, hard to find and kind of unknown RVC Corporation records. So let's just start with some of the records I picked up. I did pick up this box about a month ago, and I just haven't had time to write it all out and stuff. And I'm trying to do another setup with the camera so you can see the albums a little bit better. So first things first, this is a really cool lot. I got a couple of really cool big lots from a couple of artists in here. I got a lot of RVC Corporations, the VAP in there. So let's just go ahead and start off with what I have pictured here. I've been waiting a good year and a half to get a good meaty Shojo-Tai idol group lot. And this was an amazing lot. It was like 10 albums, I think. A lot of them were doubles and triples, actually. So I was able to pick up multiple copies. And I got it for like really cheap, too. I think 700 yen. And I got like a big chunk out of all their albums that I was missing. I've seen these lots before. I just miss them or forget about them. But I was able to grab this one. And so so I'm going to go across the albums. And so this is their first album from, let's see, 1984. And this is I haven't had a chance to listen to this one, but this is definitely their debut album right here. It's supposed to. I haven't just there's a thing on Discogs that say it's supposed to come with a poster, but I'm not sure if it does or not because I haven't seen any other copies other than the one that's on Discogs that has a poster. But it has a divider in it, so definitely there's supposed to be two things inside the sleeve, which is very unusual to have a divider in it. The second one is. Second album is Flamingo Island from 1985. Both this and the next one, Adventure Island, they're kind of mini albums. They have like 5 songs on each one, and they're colored vinyl. One of them is in blue vinyl, one is in red clear vinyl, and they're really cool. They just good music. You can't go wrong with Shojo-Tai. I've said many times before, they're kind of ahead of their time to be just that high energetic, just crazy, fun, funky idol trio, and they just nailed it. And this is just gives you a good example of what their covers look like from this time period. So that's Flamingo Island, and this one's this was, I think the first one was a promo copy. This one is actually just the regular copy of it. So I got 2 copies of it. And then Adventure Island is the other one. I think this one is the one that's on red vinyl. So very cool. And this is their live album, Are You Ready? This came out in 1986, and very interesting enough, this is actually a Hong Kong pressing. So, I thought I was going to get all Japanese pressing, but it ended up being like a really cool like Hong Kong pressing of this album. So it's kind of cool. It had never been input. And I stated this before, they were real popular outside of Asia, in Philippines, in China, Taiwan, in Hong Kong. They were very popular in Korea. And so they do have their albums were actually released in that area, especially in Hong Kong and Korea. They had localized releases of their albums. So it's kind of cool to have this really cool Hong Kong pressing of this album. All right, so this is the one that's really cool, and it kind of sucks because it's slightly warped. Not too bad, but it's noticeable, but it plays fine. But this is their album called Zoo from 1987, and this, I've listened to this album a bunch of times, and I think this is, in my list, is probably one of the top Idol albums ever made. It's so good. It has everybody on it. You have a lot of big players on it. Yasua's on it. You have Hideo Nakazaki, Sugatoshi Goto, Jun Sato. So you got some of the Yanko Club producers on it and writers, but it's its own sound. They were able to kind of separate it from a Yanko. They made it their own for Shojo-Tai, and it's cool. I mean, from beginning to end, it's just relentless. It's high energy, great songs, really sophisticated like dance synth songs. I mean, honestly, this is probably my favorite album by them by far. They're all really kind of cool in their own way, but this is just a solid album. If you haven't picked up Zoo yet, definitely pick this one up. If you're gonna pick up a Shojo-Tai album, this is the one to pick up. Really cool. Even they look cool on the cover. Look, guns. They're like Bedouin pirates with like eye patches. I mean, and she has a bomb. It's just funny. There's just a wild zaniness to them that I really like. That's kind of just really cool. It just makes it happen for them. So yeah. And finally, this is a 12-inch. Unfortunately, this one has some crazing on it from some mold, but it's a really cool. And I think if I would say pick up a second album or a 12-inch, definitely this one. The 12-inch on the B side has this really cool what does it have? It has like this really cool like mixed song on there, and it's just awesome. And it's a total. I can't wait to play it on the dance floor because I think people are going to really like it. It's almost an instrumental, and they're kind of singing backup on it, but it's really cool. It's Forever 2001. Forever was their first song, and they just keep re-recording it over and over again. There's got to be 7 or 8 different versions of Forever, but it's the B side of this that just really is amazing. So, yeah, really cool. So now we're getting to Naomi Kawashima. These were the last 3 albums I needed by her, and this is her debut album. And I've said it before, she passed away in 2014. But her music lives on, and just, I like her album. She's really cool. If you haven't picked up any of her music, I would say buy it, because it's, I'll talk about it in a second here, but, as you can see by the cover, very beautiful young lady, it has a poster of her inside, everything. But, what I like about her most is her voice. And I was trying to think why I like her voice. And I think I like her voice because it's relatable. There's something very like everyday about her that's very, in the way she sings and the way she puts out her music. And I know they're pushing her out as an idol, but she was a little bit older when she started her singing career, like 21, 22. And I just like her voice. It's just really relatable. It's like a friend. Like you have a best friend that's female, and and she sings, and you just kind of just relate to her. And and that's what I like about her, and that's what I like about her albums. And I'm glad I collected all of them, because I think they're worth getting, every single one of them, for different reasons. But we're going to talk about the second one, and this is the one that I really want to talk about. This is a fantastic album. This is above and beyond. It's her 1983 album called After Taking Shower. Miko Nakahara does songs in it. Yushiya Oda, Tetsuya Hayashi, Hiroshi Shinkawa. I mean, it's like the most city pop of all her albums. It's just Tetsuji is they're just knocking out songs through the whole album, and it's like, whoa, you can't get better than that. And then the next song is better than that. It just goes on, and so good. And so if you're gonna pick up an album by her, I would suggest like her best of, which is kind of her singles comp, and this album. This album is an absolute must. I always feel like her albums are like good, but they just don't go over it. They don't push past like them just being good albums. And they all, when I say good, they have good songs on them, really incredible songs. But this album just goes above and beyond. And I didn't know this, and I know I talked to some other people. They said the same thing. It's like, yeah, that's an incredible album. So if you don't know her, definitely buy this album. I stand behind it 100%. She's an amazing woman, definitely. And this was the last one. This one's a silver screen. Let's see, I have it on another page. So it's called Jin Maku Heroine, which is translates as silver screen heroine. There's like a vibe of her being like a vaudeville kind of 1930s singer. Torch, not it was pre-Torch, but kind of like that vibe. And it's a beautiful cover. You got to be real careful though, because it has this silver on it, and it easily gets fingerprints on it. So you have to really it's kind of hard to find one that's very clean. but it has beautiful pictures of her in there. I don't know, especially on the back cover. She's really good looking. So there's a really beautiful picture on the back. And so it's really cool to have this. Was the last of all her albums I needed, and I'm really happy to get it and just enjoy her music. I mean, she needs to be remembered and not forgotten for her contribution to Japanese pops. I probably will do a retrospective on her as well, because I have all her albums now, so I can really talk about these albums in detail. So yeah, we love you. All right, so also doing some Ann Lewis here. I'm getting towards the end of her stuff. I just need her last album and her first 2 albums, and then out of the blue, there was another album that I had that everybody missed on Discogs that came out in 1976, and I'm all, what cover is that? I've never seen that album before. It turns out because there was a space between 75 and 77, and I just figured like one was like a December release and then the other one was like a January release, so it looks like, you know, it's really not a year missing, but it looks like there's that it's just, it could be just a later record or an earlier record, so it looks like that year was missed. But it turns out there's like a record that goes right there I had never seen before, so that's another one that's added now, and it came out in 1976. But this is kind of a Rock and Roll Baby. This one came out in 1977. This is the last album right before she goes into her, I call her Pink era, that has Yumi and Tatsuro and everybody recording music for her for a good 3 or 4 years. So this was kind of like the last of her, in her, like, I would say her straight Kayo era before she goes and starts really being an art rocker and an artistic person, you know, for her music. So... you know, they're fun albums, you know. So, all right, so we're gonna get into one of the last Miki Matsubara album I needed, which is Blue Eyes, and this is a really fantastic album, and I was really hesitant about it because, you know, it's a cover album of jazz standards and stuff, and I really thought like it could be like a rather boring album because she's just singing jazz or whatever, but I honestly think, and somebody else said this too, that it's like her best album. Like, he really likes this album a lot. And I don't want to say it's like her best album, but it's definitely, I think, the closest in many ways to her heart. Because I know she was more of wanted to be like a jazz singer. And she did pop, and she did her soul and R&B and everything. But I really believe, and her husband was a jazz drummer. And so I really believe like this album is really like real personal for her, and it really shows, and it really has like a very just it sounds beautiful. She just sings so good on it, the musicianship, the arrangements, the lushness of it, and it's a really touching album. And like I suggest, if you've been putting this one off as well, like I would buy it right away. I highly regard it, and it's really kind of nice to see that side of her doing a pure jazz album. And it just working out so good for her, and you really feel her heart in this album. So yeah, I mean, definitely pick it up. So, and all right, I'm actually down to her last album. I need her best of, and I need Wink, and so those were like the last 2 I'm coming to an end with. So, all right, so the next one is Kingo Hamada. This is Fall in Love on Eastward, 1985. This is the second to the last album he did. I finally picked up the last album, so I'm done with picking up his albums, and if you haven't heard this one's a fantastic album. I honestly say it's probably one of my favorites, probably my second favorite of all his albums. It's just the music's great. I just can't get enough of it. It's really cool. So I'm really looking forward to hearing the last album he did from the 80s. But I rate this album strongly with him. So. All right, so we're gonna be moving in. I didn't get too much Air Records or Deerheart. This was the only one I got. This is Saeko Suzuki's debut album. I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. She's really like a very quirky songwriter. She kind of reminds me of Danny Elfman. Just that there's just a lot of stuff going on. It's beautiful, but it's nightmarish. And her albums are like that. She's just really, and she was a multi-instrumentalist. She was a drummer. She was a session drummer, so she's drums on like other people's albums and plays keyboard and everything. And she's just an amazing woman. A little bit outside the box of what I like, but definitely she is a genius. I'm gonna just say it straight out. Her music is just fantastic. Her arrangements, just the way she puts sounds together. And like I said, very close to kind of the Danny Elfman kind of pop music. Just a lot of stuff going on. So this one did have a lot of mold on it, but I'm fine with it. I can always get another copy and just take the obi off and put it on a new one. But this is actually one of the last RAL 8808 numbers I need, which is shared with Air Records. So I'm coming down to like 3 for the last, for the first 25 of that run. So I'm slowly just closing up those last few spots I need for Air Records for the RAL 88 series. So this was the second lot I got, and this was Amii Ozaki. This was a really cool lot. Again, I got it for really cheap, and I really specifically wanted it for the first album, but I think it was like a 10 album lot for I think I paid like 1,000 yen for it. So it wasn't a lot, but I really got a lot of her albums. Unfortunately, the one I wanted the most, of course, is the first one, and it has a lot of water damage on it. You can see it across it on the bottom. But, again, I got it for cheap. I can always buy another one. The disc is mint, so it just somewhere got along the line it got damaged, so I need to pick up another one. But it's just, she's amazing. This is an iconic cover. I mean, I know everybody's seen it, and it was great to finally, listen to it and just enjoy it, especially the B-side. B-side is more of, the city pop sound on the B-side. And it's cool. She's a cool woman. She's very talented, singer-songwriter, writes all the songs on her albums, plays instruments on her albums. She's very, very talented. So that's her. She was on 2 labels at that time, which was Express and F Label. So I got all 5 Express records, so I'm going to go through them right now. I haven't listened to all of these. It's just too much music to listen to at one time to absorb. But anyway, I got Shady Times, which came out in 1978. Mind Drops, which came out in 1977. Prismy, actually this is stop motion, came out in 1978, and then this one, Prismy, also came out in 1978. So they both came out she did 2 albums in 1 year, so yeah, she's cool. And then the final album that she did on Express was Little Fantasy, which is 1979. So yeah, this one has some water damage on it as well, but I'm not complaining. It's just about the music sometimes. So she later went on to Canyon sub-label. I think it's Canyon F Label. The name of the label's F Label. So and so she did a few albums on F label, and I got, let's see, 6, 7, 8 albums. So yeah, it was a big lot. It was really cool. So this is the first one on it. This was her debut album on F Label, which is Meridian Melon. So the next one is this one called Hot Baby, and this one actually has 3 different covers. The flaps are different colors. There's a violet, which is this one, a green cover, and a blue cover. So there's 3 different variants of this album that you can get, and it wasn't really listed on Discogs. It was kind of it wasn't clearly stated. So look at your covers. You probably didn't realize that it had 3 different covers for it, depending on it. So that's Hot Baby. This is Air Kiss. This is Shot. That's 1982. Point, 1983. And then it skips a couple. And then the next one after that would be, this was 10 Banmi no Mew. And this is 1985. And the final one that I got was Points 2, which is 1986. So I'm actually missing about 5 or 6 albums by her. So I got a big chunk of her catalog in this lot. So I was really impressed to finally get a copy of the lot. So anyway, all right. So the next one right here is, like I said, I completed all the official releases of Yanko Club. Now I'm starting to get all these kind of the more obscure ones to find. And this is one of them. This is what is it called? Marina Watanabe, Yanko Club member. And this is a Yusen release from her 1989 album, Two of Us. And actually, in my opinion, this is probably the most difficult Yanko Club album to find. Usually, when they do pop up, they usually go for like $80-$90, about 10,000 yen. So yeah, they're real expensive. They're really hard. I was really lucky that no one bid on this, and I paid maybe a third of that. But it is a hard one, and I'm really happy to get it because there's 3 Yusen albums that Yanko Club albums that were released by Yusen. Marina has 1, and then 2 of them are by Shizuku Kudo. I still got to get those 2, but getting this one was I kind of feel like I got the hardest one to get, and the other 2 are not going to be as difficult. But definitely, if you see these Yusen albums and you're a fan of an artist that has a Yusen, release, buy it right away, because again, we don't know how many of these things are made, how many were made for, if they were even sold on the open market, if they were just produced just for the broadcast stations around Japan, who knows? So pick them up when you see them. That's always been my thing. So, all right, so we're going to move over to VAP now, and VAP, I got quite a few VAP records here. Not many, mostly singles. I've been buying a lot of singles. I think in this box I literally got like 27 like VAP singles. I got like I've been buying a lot of VAP singles, and if you're on the other Facebook City Pop Collectors page, I'm always talking about like all these obscure VAP records that people don't even know about. So, and I've been discovering them and stuff, just figuring out what the missing catalog numbers and stuff. But anyway, this one's Cut Cloud. This is a Pink Cloud, of course. This was the band that had Johnny Yoshinaga, Char, guitar player, and Louis Kabe from the Golden Cups. And actually, this one's called Cut Cloud. This is from 1982. I personally feel this is my favorite album by them, especially the B-side of this record. It's very glamish. It's very just has a different vibe. It almost kind of in certain ways, in some of the songs, kind of has like a Elton John kind of feel to it, but it's like kind of rock, but it's kind of glam, and it's really cool. It's very different from, I have all their albums now, and this album is just very different, and I really like this one a lot. This is probably my favorite one. There's two variants. There's one that has the obi that goes across the top, and then there's one that has the obi that goes down the side, which is this. I don't know if one's before the other one or whatever, but really cool. If you're going to pick up a Pink Cloud, I would say pick them all up, but definitely pick up this one, especially if you're into like 70s glam music. It's just really cool. Like, the vibe of it is just a great album. So, all right. So here, in my opinion, this artist is Kyohei Nishida, and he had one album, and as far as I know, 2 singles on VAP, and this was the only album. It's very early on. This is 1981. This is 30005. So this is the 5th release on VAP. And I do want to say, I feel, in my opinion, I haven't listened to the first 5 records, but of what I see, this is probably the first city pop record on VAP. This is an incredible album. He's a great singer. He just captures that vibe of that video city, the singer-songwriter, city pop vibe, great musicianship, great songs. Just his music is just real high. It's just real fun and real good. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have never even heard of him before, but you need to pick up this album. You need to pick up the 2 singles that he did. The first single are both songs are on this album. The second single is amazing. But yeah, I feel this is the first city pop record on VAP. So I feel it's a album that everybody needs to pick up. It's good. There's a lot of copies out there because very few people know about this artist, but he's really cool, and his name is Kyohei Nishida. He's definitely worth picking up. So, all right, so this is what I've been talking about lately, which is the alternate cover of Omega Tribe's Another Summer, and this came out of the blue. I was on Yahoo Auctions, and I just put in VAP, and this popped up. I'm all, what the heck is this? So I click on it, and it shows it's an alternate cover to Another Summer. And I'm thinking, this is just crazy. Nobody knows about it. I'm the one who listed it on Discogs. I don't know what the story is behind it, but I'm going to go ahead and move it around here. So, and you can see on the back, it says Another Summer right here on the back. And then there's the songs on it. So it's not just a cover, and I'm going to pull it out here. Actually, I have it double wrap, but so you can get a feel about what this thing looks like. So you can see it's in a paper bag kind of thing, and it lists all the stuff that's been released at the time. So I hope you can see it in the camera because I'm behind it and you can't see. And then inside of it is Another Summer. So you get a copy of Another Summer on it. So this is in a bag, and it goes inside here, and that's the alternate cover. And I have no idea the background of it. I don't know where it came from. I don't know if it was a promo. I have no idea. I've never seen it before. None of us have never seen it before. But it's out there. If you see one, I would suggest buying it because, again, I don't know how many survive. It does have a paper cover that's like a paper bag. It's very thin, so I can see them being pulled out and then thrown away because it's really thin. So Super cool. I mean, I can't go wrong with that, and I was blown away. And it changes the dimensional. It's like, where did this come from and stuff. But that's what's so cool about collecting record labels. You just don't know what came out, had come out and stuff. So, all right. So we're gonna be moving into RVC Corporation here, which was of course Victor and RCA America, kind of doing a co-brand together. I think largely to take the word Victor off the albums, because Victor in Japan couldn't be used overseas because the Victor copyrights were held by somebody else. So I think RVCA really made it so the Victor name was taken off, and they could sell these records overseas in Hong Kong, in Australia, just probably in Europe, whatever. So I've been collecting the label, especially as you guys know, the RVL 8000 series, which is like the real famous one. I'm going to talk about that in a second. But this is the RVL series, the 7200 series, and this was more of the I would say the third tier performers, which means it's like the label runs their career. It's mostly like the Enka singers, the established like artists, like I'm trying to think, like Cool 5 I think was on there. And it seems like and it's even said, Toshiki even said it, that there was 3 tiers, and he was on the second one. He wasn't on the main one, and that really upset him, and that's what made him go to Air Records, so he can fully control his music. But so originally when Miharu Koshi was an artist, they actually presented her as an idol, and you can tell by this cover and also by the catalog number of like how. I think Machi was also in that. Kondo was also in that same series, and she only was quote unquote an idol for this first album. And she's super talented. Writes all her music, plays piano. If you've seen videos of her perform, she's just amazing. And she just like right away, like, I'm not gonna be an idol. I'm a singer songwriter. I deserve better than this. So she was kind of like moved out of the whole idol thing, and quickly went into being a singer-songwriter, being an artist, really. And she wrote most of the songs. I think she wrote all the songs on this album. So she had the talent. I mean, Mari Ejima, I think, is the only one that has, like, all her songs were written by her as an idol for her debut album. Now we're going to be moving on to the RVL 8008 series. And this is the one I'm very close to finishing. I just need 2 albums. Between RVL 8001 to RVL 8000, I think it's 54. So I'm very close. There's a break in there, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But this is Norihito Kawahara, and this is his second album called Dream Like Dream. And yeah, he's just more. A lot of these records, and especially these kind of unknown ones from RVC, RCA, they tend to be more of these like folk rock, soft rock albums. Yes, they're on the same albums, and I honestly, this was probably the more. If we want to be realistic, this was probably the more popular sound that was going on at the time than, let's say, what Tatsuro's earlier career or whatever, which is why his albums are so hard to find, because they just didn't sell many of them. But this is the sound, and you're going to see a couple albums like this, and they all kind of just have the same, the deep singing voice, the Kayo voice, the soft rock sound, the AR sound. So this is just one of them. They're good. I like them. They kind of blend into each other since I bought them all kind of at the same time. So I kind of have to individually listen to them again and kind of get a feel for them. So this is another one. This is RVL 8010. So the last one I showed you was 8. This is 10. And this is cataloged by Tatsushi Umegaki. I didn't like this album. And actually, in many ways, I felt it was like the worst one of the entire run. But I listened to the CD again today on YouTube. You can hear this album on YouTube. And there's something about the CD or the mix or whoever uploaded it. Just when you finally get it on vinyl and put it on your turntable, and I really say this, I'm not like anti-CD or anything, but there's a warmth to this album that just doesn't pick up on the CD. That's whoever posted it on YouTube. And this is a really good album. I really, really had to reevaluate it. There's really only one true city pop song on the album. It's the last song on the album. But overall, it's just a nice, like, soft rock album that just has a lot of great, just good tunes, It's a good album. Sometimes there's just albums with good songs on them. They're not changing. They're not like, Dark Side of the Moon or anything. They're just good albums that have good songs, and this is one of those albums. It's enjoyable. I think if you guys bought it, I think you guys would enjoy it. I think more than the other artists on this RVL 8000 series. He went on to do a lot of anime songs, wrote a lot of songs for a lot of artists and stuff. So he really cool. I highly suggest it. So what I discovered when I was, and I think I discussed this before, is the RVL 8000. Between 8011 and 8024, it was this whole block of reissues of previous RCA releases before Japanese artists were put on RVC. And this is one of them. This is actually album came out in 1971. It's by the Simmons. It was a duo, kind of folk Kayo, very beautiful ladies, of course. It's very of its time. Like I said, between 70 and 73, it's not my favorite era of Japanese music. But it's a fun listen to. This is what album is this? I gotta get to it. This album is Simmons Kobito no Ina Inomi Simmons no Sekai. I Don't Have a Lover, The World of Simmons. So I thought it was a record I missed, but it turned out it was a reissue, and that was one thing I had to sort out on Discogs. It took me a while to oh wait, this is a reissue, and then I figured out that whole block was. So this is another of that reissue. This is this reissue of RVL 8019, Minako Yoshida. This is her second album, her first album on RCA. It was reissued a year later. It originally came out in 76. This is the reissue that came out in 77. It's actually the first RVC record to be by a Japanese artist, because when it was formed in 1970, the first 6 years, it was all just Western artists. It was like Harry Nilsson, all the American artists that were on RCA and stuff. And so this one had a short reissue, really quick. So I would think that the first issue, since it was only pressed for a year, is a little bit harder to find than the 8019. But it was a popular album. There's a lot of copies out there. So this is another, like I said, another one of those soft rock, kind of folk rock singers. This is RV 8029. This is Hideki Okuno, and this album is called Okuno Heki no Sakai, the world of another world of Okuno Hideki, and Acacia Dori no Hito, which is the people of Acacia Street. I think of all the ones I've listened to, of all these kind of folk rock guys, kind of AOR soft rock guys, this one's probably my favorite. It has some really cool versions of songs, has a good vibe, but like I said, all these artists kind of bleed into each other, and it's I think that's why Tatsuro kind of stands out, why nobody knows this album, but everybody knows Tatsuro, and everybody knows Kawana, Masahiro, because their music really sticks out, and this music it's good, but it kind of just all blends into each other. There's nothing really that I can grab on to say this is a unique artist, but it's a great cover. Like I said, of the bunch, this is probably my favorite song of my favorite album by them. So, okay, so this was the only Western artist to be released on RCA, the 8000 series. This is RVL 8031. This is High Tide Harris. He was a electric blues guitar player that put out 2 albums, and the 2 albums were on RCA. I just got the second one today, so really hard to find one with an Obi. They're kind of sought after because, again, his albums weren't released outside of Japan. They were only released in Japan, and so a lot of blues collectors, electric blues collectors, like 60s and 50s, 70s, really are kind of looking for his albums because they're just really difficult to find. And not difficult, but difficult if you don't know where to get them from. But they're scarce. They're a little scarce, I'm going to say that. And this was called Celebrating with High Tide Harris. It's live in the studio, 1978. And it's it sucks that the Obi's missing, because it says something along of Western blues player versus Japanese blues sidemen, something along the lines. It's really cool. And it's all his whole backing band is a Japanese backing band that has a lot of Japanese famous Japanese rock and players backing him up. And there's actually one city pop song on it, in my opinion. It's like a city pop song, but it has a blues guitar over. But it's really cool. But what it's known for, believe it or not, is The Sky is Crying. the famous Stevie Ray Vaughan song. That's kind of what he's known for. It was actually originally recorded by High Tide Terrace on this album that was only released in Japan. So how he found out about this album, it was probably like people started learning about it. But yeah, it's kind of legendary, and it's cool. It's very different. Very cool that he had an album in Japan with the other Japanese artists. So it tells you that they had a real affection for the blues music at that time. So electric blues. So this is another RVL 8034. This is Minako Yoshida. This is her best of album. It's actually one of her more harder ones to find, believe it or not. More, I don't want to say harder, but it definitely, I always see it go for a good $50-$60. It's kind of a more pricier one. You wouldn't think so, because it's just a best of. So this is the one that I think is the more hardest one to find of the whole run of the RVA 8000 series. And this is albums by Yashiro Kitataka. Kitatata. He was in a folk group called Chan Chako. They had released a handful of records in Japan in the mid-70s. And this one ended up being the most hardest one to find. It only popped up maybe twice when I was looking for it in a good 8-month period. The first one, a bunch of people bid on it. This one, I am so happy no one bid on it, and I got it for a good price. But somebody tagged it as city pop, and I was really like, I know this guy's music. It's folk rock, it's folk music, and deep voice folk music. That's what it is. And so I listened to it. Side A, it's like, this is a folk record. I'm ready to pull the city pop tag off it. I flipped the record over, and the B-side is a city pop record. It's really unusual to have two completely different types of music on one album. And the fact that one side of it has this really cool, funky beast, funky-ish soft rock music on it, and the A side has what he's known for, which is his folk music. And so if you see this one, pick it up. It's very tough. A lot of people don't know about it, but it took me a long time to find this one. And the cover's great. I mean, it's very mysterious. It's like, what's this album? And it's called, I didn't say the name, but it's Okubyotori, which means a timid bird. That's the name of the album. But definitely a really cool album. I think one of the coolest ones of the run, along with Spacey and all the other cool, all the other albums that were released on it. I think it's up there. Not quite up there, but it's definitely on the edge of it. So the last two are, of course, I always like to post my two rarest ones beside the Another Summer cover. This is the RVC RVAL 8000 series, and I actually got two of them that were super hard that it was time to step up. I said, if I want to collect this label run, I got to get these two albums. And so it was time. It was a good timing, because I'm coming to the end with both these artists of their records, of their albums. So here they are. Of course, the first one is Spacey. I've been trying to find I've been putting this one off for a very, very long time. But like I said, once I realized I was going to collect the RVL 8000 series, I had to get this one. This is RVA 8006. So this is the 6th release that was released on the label. Really, really good shape, actually. This is the clear Obi. It has a little mold across the top. It could be better, but it could be worse. So I'm fine with it. It looked nicer in the photograph. But it's clean, nice clean copy and stuff. Like I said, it's my copy now. I enjoy it. It's really cool to finally have a copy of it. I still need one more of his RCA records, which is Pop in Time, I think is the last one I need. And then I'll complete his LP run for RVC RCA. And so really happy to finally get them. And so if that's my second to the top one, what is the top one that I was missing? And I think this one's much more harder to find. This is, of course, Taeko Ohnuki. This is her Minio album. This was a very tough one to find. In fact, in many ways, I thought I was only going to get a reissue of it, because I just never see it for sale. It rarely pops up. One of those rare times where I said, hey, I might even go for it without an Obi, because I don't want to... when they pop up, they go for a lot of money. That's just when it comes down to it. And I finally got it. It's a brilliant album, and as everybody knows, it's iconic, amazing cover. It was the last of her RVC records I needed, so I'm really glad to have it. Really clean shape. In many ways, it's kind of good, because I'm kind of done with those kind of really. I mean, there's a few out there, but the real hardcore 200 plus records that are out there, I think I'm kind of done. I kind of got my last one. I still need Heaven Beach, but so I'm kind of glad. I'm content. There's other albums out there, but this was one I really wanted, and Spacey was one I really wanted. So it was really nice to finally get a copy of both of these albums. So I'm very blessed to be able to get it and have the means to get it as well. So but yeah, this album vibes, and I kind of have to get a reissue because there's no way I'm taking this out of the house. I just don't want anything to happen to this. It's in super clean shape, so I'm probably gonna just get a reissue, and I'll probably DJ that one. But I kind of like to get the originals before the reissues, because then it's like, well, I already have the reissue, but I still need to get the original. But I finally got it, so just real happy, that I got these. So. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'll have another package next month because I did wait a good month. I think I got this at the end of January, this package. So I think I'll have one next month again. I am going to be taking a trip to Japan shortly, so I'm kind of going to hold off on a lot of stuff and just kind of save up money for that trip and not really buy much. So, but again, thank you for listening in. I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys watching. This is going to be posted on my Rumble channel, Show a Pop on Rumble. And then it's also going to be promoted through our Plastic City Tune in Tokyo page on Instagram. So again, they're on this Friday. They're going to be at the Paramount Theater, Plastic City. The other DJs, Dave Tata, Jovan, and Marcus. So definitely check them out. We haven't done a Plastic City in a while since the Lash closed down. So definitely support them. Great people, of course, as you know. And we also Twitch show us Sundays that we do, probably usually 8 o'clock on a Sunday on Western time. So definitely listen in as well. So we're trying to get a lot more stuff done. And of course, Instagram, I think I've already mentioned it, Tune in Tokyo events. So thank you again. I appreciate it. And thanks for listening to this episode. We greatly appreciate it. Thank you.